And as promised, we are back, and I have my grandfather here, Mr. Travis Darden. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right. So,
I'm glad y'all have me here.
we've been trying to get you on for quite a while, but I mean, we figured this would be the perfect time, especially with Jackie Robinson's anniversary coming up this week, with the integration of minor league players and also a lot of the Negro League players. So let's go ahead and get into it. Just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Travis Darden. I'm Dante's grandfather, and I played for the South Texas Negro League. I played for the name of the team that I played for was the San Antonio Ramblers. We played against the Black Sox, and I also played with the Austin Palominos. And I played in Los Angeles, and I was also in the farm club. I went up for the farm club for the Chicago Cubs. So I've been roaming around, and I played in the Air Force in the service. I played baseball in the service. So yeah, and that's my baseball card. We also, my grandson, I guess I'll have him to give you the website where he can look up, for the, look up all the black, the South Texas and all the blacks that played here in Texas. We have a museum on the website. We have a website with the museum on it, and we have a lot of their names and their stats. Yeah,
and I did check that website out. It's a pretty nice and very informative website. That website, by the way, is cnlbr.org. Once again, that's cnlbr.org. Let's go ahead and talk about some of your stints that you had with some of these teams. Let's start off with the Ramblers.
Well, when I played at the Ramblers, I played here in San Antonio. That was back in the 60s and the 50s. Back in there, well, it was pretty hard. We had to have we played in our own league. We played at Pittman Sullivan, and the Black Sox had their own park out. But going out and traveling, we had to, it was segregated. So we had to do had a hard time getting places to stay and certain teams to play with. We very seldom, it was always black playing on black, not white, you know. But we did have one, and the Black Sox had one white fella that pitched for them, and he's one day you ought to be able to meet him. And but we traveled down and we traveled to Mexico. We played teams in Mexico, played in the Mexican League, played for them. I played a little bit in the Mexican League. And I also played down in Brackenville, where it was fairly well, it was mixed. It was mixed down in there because of, it was close to the border and whatsoever. But we played, it was hard. And then people think that it was, if it hadn't been for the black Negro leagues around the country, then we wouldn't have had the Major League Baseball players we did. See, Jackie Robinson, he started down in there. Satchel Paige, he also started down. All of us started in our own league. And so they played for the Kansas City Monarchs, but the South Texas League, well, we had many a team here, and we had to struggle because we didn't have what you call sponsors. But we had games every Sunday, and some of them was we played for nothing, and that's what makes it so dang. We played for the love of the game. See, well, today is that people are always talking about, well, I want to get paid for this, I want to get paid for this. Well, we played because we loved the game, and it was the competition of the game that we played for. See, and it was hard. We'd go to places we'd go that it's hard to find places. We all, you know, traveling, it was hard to find places to eat, you know. But we all traveled with buses and whatsoever. But it was fun. That was one thing. It was fun. And we didn't have stadiums. Very few stadiums was around. But you had but we had crowds. we had a crowd of people that, you know, they came to see us play. And so,
Mark?
Well, yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. I mean, it's very relative to our league. You know, we don't have stadiums. They don't get paid to play. You know, we all do it. We're all connected to it for the love of the game, football, baseball. So I definitely understand that, appreciate that. You mentioned that you played with, you know, some of, you know, me being Hispanic myself. Like, not only did you pave the way for, you know, African Americans, but also for, you know, Latinos and Hispanics to get into the major leagues also. I mean, majority of the major league is probably not necessarily, you know, white people. It's you know, African Americans and Hispanics, really, you know, Cubans and Latin. So, like you said, you played in some of the Mexico leagues. What was why did the Jackie Robinsons pave the way, or how did they pave the way for not only blacks but also for Hispanics? Why did he get the chance to do that?
well, it just so happens that if you were seen, he was singled out. There was a lot of them that was singled out, but by it being by the Ricky for the Dodgers happened to see him, and he wanted to expand. He wanted to start something new. In other words, he wanted to bring the blacks in there because he saw some of the superior playing. But he says that he wanted to bring them in, and he wanted to segregate the Dodgers. And so by him doing that, he had to single out somebody. And he singled out a young man that was meek, because a lot of us was not meek. I'll put it to you like that. A lot of us couldn't have stood where Jackie Robinson stood, you see. And when he got into it, so and Ricky told him, say, well, you're going to go through a lot. See, and so you have to do it. But if you go through it, and if you pass out, well, then other people, then it will begin to branch out. And so that's really what happened. See, and but I'm so sorry today that it's just today we don't have as many of the leagues that we had when I was coming up. That the young men going out playing baseball. Now what they're looking at is that baseball is just as like Mama's apple pie. That was the game. That was America's game at one time. Now the kids, even the parents don't push the kids out to go out and play baseball. They push them out to go play basketball.
Why do you think that is?
Well, they buy the hoops. They buy them the basket. They can play at home. They can shoot at home. But if we played baseball in the street. Or we had to go to a park.
And that more than anything else, I think it's a team game, just like football is. But I think now kids nowadays they don't get out. They don't go outside and play like we used to. You know, back in the 80s, 90s, 70s. Back then, and now everybody wants to stay in and play video games and cell phones and whatnot. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Speaking here on you're staying here in San Antonio. You said it was a lot of of course we know it was a lot of blacks, but what about the Hispanics? Were there quite a bit of Hispanics that played in these leagues as well?
Oh well, they had the Hispanic league, just like I said when I played for the San Antonio Ramblers, and just off the top of my head I can't remember, but I also played in the Spanish American team. I played in that league also with some of those, and they had sponsors. And we would go out on Sundays and we would play games. Saturdays and Sundays we would play games out there. And if you just not being funny, but your aunt always thought when she went to the game with me, she'll tell everybody she thought I was playing professional baseball and I was in Major League Baseball. But they always went with me and enjoyed it because it was a lot of fun. And what happens is that not trying to change it, but if you look at it today, you can count the American blacks that are playing baseball. Most of the blacks that's playing baseball now are from the Dominican Republic or whatever. They are Latin. They are not Americans. Because why? Because the American boy, the Afro-American or the black boy now, what he wants to do, he's want to get the basketball in his hand, and I'm looking at big money. I'm looking at big money. So this is the thing. To play baseball, you have to love the game because you have to stand out in that sun. And we played it.
That's interesting you bring that up because, baseball is actually one of the few sports that has guaranteed contracts, and you actually, no salary cap. Right. So, I have some friends that are black that actually we used to kind of frown upon, like, you playing baseball, like, why are you not playing football or basketball? That's the kind of high profile sports, like you said, right, that the African Americans are attaching themselves to these days versus baseball. And it's, if you're looking for the big money, baseball players make the most money out of anybody. So it's just kind of
who hosts what, 240 million?
Right, exactly. I mean, what's his name from the Yankees?
You're talking about
Rodriguez.
Yeah, Alex Rodriguez. So I mean, the most money is actually in baseball.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like not to, baseball. How is that on your body? Like, is because you play 162 games normally, as far as the major leagues does. Is it as wearing? Because you would think you play baseball. Football is, obviously, right. It's basically a train wreck almost every play. Basketball, the way they're playing that, well, maybe not like how they played in the 80s and 90s, yeah, but it's still physical. The athletes are so big and strong and fast now. Baseball is really not as much contact. So, like, how did you ever play any of the other sports, and then you just how did you fall in love with baseball?
Well, way that when I came up and the way it was seasonal.
Okay. It
was seasonal. I went to school. When I went to school, I go into school. Mostly in the wintertime, you played. It was football. They had football going on in school, and come springtime, you start the baseball, and then they had basketball in school. So it was more. So I wasn't too much of a basketball fiend. It was more football and baseball. When I wasn't playing football, I was playing baseball, and I played in all the sports that I played here in San Antonio. I played for Phyllis Wheatley, and I played in California. I played at the Alamo Stadium here, and it's just people don't understand to get the thrill of I always tell everybody, I have endured and I have gotten the thrill that some of the big leagues have gotten, because I was able to play football at the Coliseum when I was in high school in front of 100,000 people, see, and I was able to play baseball out here at Mission Stadium at one time when they would have certain things. So it was the thrill of the game, and it was how much that you would feel, and in the service, being in the service and playing in different places where we played baseball, and then it's one thing that baseball is not as hard on your body as football,
right,
but it is strenuous because you have to be able to move, and you have to be able to move, and you have to be able to react. See, so that's it. And when you standing up at that plate, and that fastball is coming at you, you've got to be able to move.
But before we wrap it up here real quick, just talk about being able to play or try out for the Cubs. What was that like? What was that feeling like? And what did you think about the whole experience of trying out for a major league team?
Well, to be able to try out for the major league teams that I happened to be in California at the time, and just saying that I got Ernie Banks is part of my family, in other words, but he had told me that where they had the summer, where they had training, and that was in Escondido, California. So I would travel from San Antonio because I wasn't under contract. But just to walk on, I traveled from Los Angeles to Escondido, and I would get there in the morning and walk on. And so they allowed me to work out with them and to try out. But the honest thing he told me, he says, since we have gotten so many farm teams and we got so many people under contract, that it was we having to assign the people that's under contract, because as they say that this farm team is not going to be anymore, and that farm club is not going to be anymore. So we have to do this. But what you do is you go back and we'll send a scout down to take a look at you, you know, back into Los Angeles. So I went back to Los Angeles and worked out with the Pittsburgh rookies. See, but it was a thrill to be able to get out there on the field with all of those players that were up there. See, and to be able to show what you could do. In other words, people think that, okay, they're out there and they're just throwing the ball around, but it is a mental thing of saying, okay, can I beat this dude?
Right.
Can I beat him out? You know, because I have to show what I can do in order to be able to do it.
Much like us trying out for an arena team or a team like that. So, yeah.
Right. See.
Okay.
And but you prove yourself, and they see you. Well, okay, then they say, okay, I can't sign you here, but you go back and you play such and such a place, and I will send somebody to see you. Now that's where you run into, is because a lot of prejudice comes into when scouts come out. See, and a lot of parents and have friends that has teams, and that they want their son to be seen, so their friend, in other words, instead of putting you out there, you the standout, but what they do, they sit you on the bench and they put their friends' children out there, and so it's hard for you to be seen. But then it was a thrill playing. It was a thrill going out there.
That's awesome. Here on the, I'm not sure what anniversary it is, but here on definitely the anniversary of Jackie Robinson integrating into Major League, we want to say thank you here at TSFL, and we really appreciate what you guys did, not only for you guys in baseball, but I think you guys did a lot for us, here in every sport, and especially here in football. So for that, I say thank you. Okay, and I just ask for you all to look at our website, and enjoy it, because it's something that it will, And once again, that website is cnlbr.org, and that's the Center for Negro League Baseball Research. So definitely go ahead and check it out and see where some of the history here in San Antonio comes from. But we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll go ahead and get into this week's games.